The Cleveland Cavaliers is one of the best teams in the league. And with us acquiring DeAndre Hunter before the All-Star break, we have stamped the fact that we believe that we can contend for an NBA championship. Now the Cavs will have to go through some gritty teams like the Knicks, Pacers, Bucks, Pistons, and the reigning NBA champs, the Boston Celtics. Now, what's the next goal for the Cleveland Cavaliers, right? And it gotta be health. To me, it gotta be health because every team, every time, it's always one player that just is not healthy. You know, it's nothing you can do to stop it. But for the Cleveland Cavaliers, we have to make sure that the key guys is healthy because our expectations for this season, our goal for this season is at least the Eastern Conference Finals so we can really see how talented our guys are when the lights are at the brightest, right? Kobe Altman decided and opted in to let this system rock out, and let's see what we look like with Kenny Atkinson. What we look like with Kenny Atkinson is the best team in the NBA, right? And the only team that's close to us in record would be the Oklahoma City Thunder, right? Now, you say, you know, you're afraid of the Bucks, maybe you're afraid of Boston, maybe you're afraid of this, maybe you're afraid of that. But honestly, when you look at that playoff picture, realistically, you're not going to play those type of teams until the second and third round of the playoffs. And this is one of the reasons as a Cavs fan, I'm not really tripping over this, right? Because let's be honest, the second half of the season is when it gets really, really real, right? And I believe the Cavs is going to play the way the Cavs has been playing this entire season, right? We have our composure, we have our vets, we have our guys that has tasted the playoffs, our young guys has tasted the playoffs, we know what we have to do. Now, the only thing that we have to show and really just put in our mind that we can get to it is the playoffs. And what I mean by that is making sure that we can establish that we are a legitimate team. We're not an Atlanta Hawks, right? Because early on in the season, we heard this so much, right? We kept being compared to the Atlanta Hawks when they had that Jeff Teague and the Paul Millsap and all of them was making an all-star team, right? We're better than that guy, right? We're better than that team. We're way better than that team. And we know that. They know that. But right now they are trying to play the Cleveland Cavaliers. But I know this playoff round, first round, I don't think we're going to really struggle. Maybe it might go 5 or 6 games, you know, just because it just happens. There's a lot of gritty teams in the East. Second round, we're probably going to play a team like Milwaukee. You know, I'm not tripping over that. That is going to be a test because they have all this length. But I still think the Cleveland Cavaliers make it up on top. But where I do fear is eventually we are going to play Boston and probably in the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, when we do play Boston, that is when it's going to be a nail biter, right? That is when we're going to be like, OMG, it just got real. This is when we're going to figure out who's really like that because Boston is no sleeper. Let's be honest. Like, we cannot play around with Boston. They have the length. They have the shooters. They have the coach that's giving them the green light. They're averaging, like 60-something threes a game. They're going stupid. They're going crazy. Actually, I think I've seen one stat where they're technically shooting more threes than a prime Golden State when they was in their tear for three-point shooting, right? And that's a scary situation because a lot of the games they win, it's because they're hitting their threes. Now, if it gets in that scenario, you know, that's where it's going to have to get fun. We're going to have to slow down. We're going to have to get gritty. We cannot let them play us in the half court. It has to be a game of full court. Let's be honest. It's going to be a break game, transition game. But I do think the Cleveland Cavaliers is going to make it. We're going to beat Boston. We're going to compete. We're not going to get swept. And that's the goal. We cannot get swept. And I know that's easier said, right? But I do believe for the respect portion of the game, right? Because it's a lot of analysts, it's a lot of players that just are not all the way locked in with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, it is some players and talents and analysts that do believe that the Cleveland Cavaliers will show out more than a lot of people give us credit for. But right now, we're in a situation as Cavs fans. We got to understand we're going to have to let them know. And honestly, down in the comments, I want to hear what y'all think, right? Because do you think that the Cleveland Cavaliers is going to show out? Like, what is your expectations of the Cleveland Cavaliers? Because we hear so many different ideas and perspectives of our Cleveland Cavaliers, but I want to know what y'all think because honestly, y'all might even think we should make it to the NBA championship. Maybe you think we just, as long as we compete in these rounds, is good, right? I'm not sure, but I know for me, from what I'm seeing on the Cleveland Cavaliers, right? I think we've made the moves and we've done what we've done to get it to the NBA championship, right? We've got DeAndre Hunter, who's hooping, right? We have him. We're going to let him kind of get more comfortable. And honestly, I think that move, side note, I do think that was a really good move. But I do believe right now the Cleveland Cavaliers made that move because we believe we're going to play Boston. And when we play Boston, we think we have a chance to really beat the Celtics.
That's Atlantis with that money.